What is going on out there, peeps? All right, look, I had a really good meeting today. I'm very happy about what was presented to me. I will share more a little bit later. I'm trying to make sure that I am censored proofed, if you get my drift. Very, very interesting things that were presented. Anyways, I'll share a little bit more later on. I'm waiting for this proposal to come through an email. When I get it, we'll share the information with you guys because I think it's something that everybody could benefit from, to be quite honest with you. But let's get into the Iraqi dinar. Look at that sourpuss right there. Yeah, guess what's going on? Yeah, another country has joined the Abraham Accord. Now, the interesting thing is, well, we'll get to the story because it is very interesting, by the way. You guys know if you're thinking about buying precious metals, please give a consideration to our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. If you're a first-time buyer here in Puerto Rico or the United States and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and get a free half ounce of silver. So, you guys know I got the hidden things in front of your eyes. I want to encourage you guys to go over there and join. There's some really good videos over there, all right? So, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe now because if you do, it helps out the channel. I encourage you guys to come over here. These videos are one of the highest watched videos on average that I have. Very interesting. You guys know I got Pimpy's Investment Chat. It's the same name as the YouTube channel. Over here, we talk about investment opportunities, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. All right. If you come over and join, it's free to do so. The links are in the description. If you have any questions, feel free to post them. There are a lot of knowledgeable people in the group. If I can't get to the response, they will. All right, here we go. So, again, we know this, you guys, and that is Erbil and Baghdad have been meeting and trying to finalize their agreement between one another. The problem is all the time when you're starting to rely on your parliamentary groups to help pass laws, if you have different factions within the parliamentary, it makes it really hard to get things passed because you have conflicting groups. You know, they're either conflicting against one another based on religion, there's all kinds of things that or tribes, there's all kinds of things that are taken into consideration. So if you want to get something passed, it makes it really hard to do so. Christians, Muslims, Shiites, and you know what I mean? It's just like there are different religions in there. They bump heads. You know, it makes it really hard to get things passed. And that's the same thing that's happening here. So during the meeting with the Kurdistan delegation, Al-Khabib called for the budget to be removed from politics because that's what's happening. A lot of these hurdles that they can't get past has nothing specifically to do with the budgets or a lot of the agreements. It's trying to figure out how to walk that tightrope between all the different factions where you can get them all to agree. We saw what happened before. You had one group of people who were pissed off that they weren't included in a specific negotiation. Well, when it came time to be voted on something different, they were spiteful and they voted against something just to spite the other people. This is what happens. We have a lot of that here in our own government as well. You got people walking down party lines, and it's just not how you should be doing business. When you have that kind of tension in your government, you need to remove those people. You really do. Okay? Should be all about the people, what benefits the people, and not them damn selves. Period. So this is what he's saying. Look, we got to remove the politics out of this, you guys. When you put the politics are in part of the budget negotiations, people are too busy fighting over political differences, religious differences, ideology differences, and you don't want that to happen. And this is what this person is saying is like, we're never going to get this thing passed just because we can't get past these hurdles that separate us by religion, ideology, whatever the reason. Okay, so let's get past that. I like what he's saying. Lo and behold, another additional country joins the Abraham Accord. Yeah. Another Arab country joins the club of normalization with Israel. Again, you got to understand that this is very, very dangerous for Iran. These people, these countries with Israel, who's very, very powerful, when it comes to technology and wars. We keep them updated. We keep them stocked up with our technology and weapons. So, Israel is very powerful by themselves. They really are. But if you get these Arab nations all joining together and they start agreeing with one another and working with one another, it's going to make it very hard for Iran to try to bully these people around, especially if they all work together with Israel. Said the Israel Intelligence Ministry, Cohen, said Wednesday that Israel and Sudan will finalize a diplomatic agreement to normalize relations between them during the ceremony in Washington within the next 3 months, which is ironic in the sense that why are you going to Washington? You can see already now this current administration is going to go, oh, look what I did. No, this is a continuation of what it is that Trump started. He should get the credit. Why they need to go to Washington, we'll see. 3 months. But anyways, this is good. It really is. So it says there was no immediate comment from Sudanese officials or the U.S. Embassy in Israel. So this is being announced, but there is no confirmation from the two countries involved. Sudan joins the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco last year in moving towards normalizing relationships with Israel, which I think they should do. These people are all in the Middle East. We need to bring peace to the Middle East. You really hope it happens. It's not fair to the people. And you guys heard me say this all the time, and I mean this sincerely. Don't get me wrong. Who doesn't want to benefit financially from an exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar? And I would love that. But the truth of the matter is, if I'm being honest, that is, I'm more concerned about the people in the Middle East, including the Iraqi people. There's no reason for them to be suffering. They should be very prosperous because they have so much oil there. It's just unfortunate that corruption and war has really torn up the Middle East, and we have a big part of that to play in it. Nonetheless, this looks like it could happen. We'll see, but I think it's interesting that they want to go to Washington to do this under the current administration, considering it was the prior administration that's making this all happen. A lot of these countries, I told you there's more, but they're not talking about them. A lot of these countries had negotiated under the administration of 45. I would have loved it if they went and did the ceremony signing in Florida. Anyways, Taliban, he meets with al-Kababi, and this is the House of Representatives. So again, this is just a continuation of the meeting that they had, and this is where al-Kabi came out and said, we need to take politics out of this. This is an article that was from earlier, all right? So Souley reveals the mechanisms for obtaining loans from the IMF. Man, I really think this is a bad move. It really is. If you're weighing out pros and cons, well, how does this help Iraq? Well, good. They don't spend money. They don't spend any either, or I should say, they don't deplete their foreign reserves, which is a good thing. They get the money immediately. They're going to need it, but there's too many strings attached whenever you're dealing with the IMF. They are working with the Arab Monetary Fund. I think that's the right direction to go into, and I don't know why they don't do that. Not only that, their loans are much, much lower when it comes to interest because they're all about helping out one another. Anyways, the Prime Minister advisor for financial affairs, Souley, revealed today, Wednesday, the mechanisms for obtaining loans from the IMF. So in a statement, it said part of the loan that Iraq gets from the IMF is called the accelerated financing method, pointing out that when the fund sees any country that has a large deficit in the current account in the balance of payments, it provides a soft loan. This is like, to me, loan sharking. That's really what it's like. Look, they'll lend you the money, but there's so many strings attached. It's almost crazy to try to abide by what it is they want you to do. A lot of things they want you to do is they want to try to dictate to these countries policies and procedures when it comes to banking, which is a no-no. The loans that he will receive were $2 billion, and they're $4 billion more, stressing that these loans come to reform the Iraqi economy. The white paper is consistent with any reform program. This depends on the money that comes from the IMF, pointing out that the funds are called precautionary. That is, when Iraq needs to withdraw from it according to its needs. That maybe if that's the way they're doing it, it might not be so bad, but I'm just wondering what it is that IMF wants in return. That's the big issue. Iraq has conducted about 5 agreements with the IMF after 2003, 3 of which are credit readiness, one after conflicts, and another called the Staff Monitor, stressing that there were successful agreements. They paid them back. There are continuous cooperations between Iraq and IMF as Iraq is funding country. Iraq is a founding country of the fund since 1945, and it is an active and important member of the Middle East region. It's the key to the Middle East, and everybody knows it. This is why it's important for Iraq to get stable. They're the gateway to the Middle East when it comes to trade and reaching out to the people in the Middle East to do international business. They know this. A positive atmosphere revealed the latest development in the Baghdad herbal talks. Okay, we know this is a lot of the same thing I read earlier. They just want to make sure tentatively everything is agreed upon. Very little is not agreed upon, but as long as you keep the politics out of it. I know it's easier said than done, but I'm talking about the different factions battling over things that are unrelated to what's right for the people. JP Morgan is the US dollar clearer for Arab Monetary Fund, the BUNA system. BUNA is currently close to 30 banks on board and is discussions with more than 130 banks from 13 different countries. This is actually good because of the Arab accounting or the Arab Monetary Fund. This means Arab countries can, do trade with one another on a more level playing field. I talked about this before in several videos. So I like the fact that JP Morgan is, I don't like JP Morgan themselves, but I do like the fact that the US dollar is being considered as part of the different currencies that they have to offer, considering that the vast majority of cross-border payments are done in US dollars. I think this is going to benefit all of the countries that are in this particular organization. So this is good trade-wise, all right? So we'll keep an eye on it. It says, from the value of proposition, the US dollar represents 55% of cross-border payments. This is what I'm talking about. In the region, it is obvious that a key currency for banks to consider for cross-border payments in a centralized way of the BUNA. So again, this is good, but their real key was to do what they can to build up the different countries as far as helping each other out with trade and doing business, but it was hard to do in the past. Remember, I was talking about this. The currencies had different values and was causing a lot of problems. So this, again, is, in my opinion, a level playing field. I like what's going on, and it's happening pretty quickly. So right here it says, Saleh contacts the Saudi Crown Prince. So they just had a conversation on the phone. I think what's happening is Saudi needs to reach out to all the people on the Abraham Accord and say, look, this is what happened to Khashoggi. Whether they like it or not, they need to at least talk about it. Whether the prince is guilty or innocent. So if you people are out there relying on our intelligence agencies to tell us the truth, then you are definitely putting your trust in the wrong place. So there's no way to tell whether they're being honest or not, especially after what we've seen in the prior administration and what they did in an attempted coup. So nonetheless, here's where we are. Things are still looking positive and moving in the right direction, outside of the fact that I'm not too thrilled about the IMF being there. I wish Iraq would turn more towards their buddies and borrowing from the Arab Monetary Fund, which is there for them as well. I do like the fact that another country is considering coming on. We'll see. I said 7 more. Is that right? 5 more. And this is one of those. So Qatar is one, and believe it or not, Palestine is another. And one of them was Iran. But now that Biden's in there, I'm not counting too much on Iran. We'll see what happens. Anyways, that's it. Again, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later.